Now you can pick the image that you want to put in the central focus. When you cut this out, be sure that you cut close to the edge to take up the least amount of space in the next step, and that you save the backing. We will be using that to mark out the background pieces that we want to remove. Take your time when you pull these off, because it's easy for the image to stay affixed at this point to the background, the white background. So just take your time, pull it off slowly, rub it down real hard before you begin to peel it off. You can use, if you're using this little pink tool, you can use it to see where to place your image if you put it on top of a gridded design. That helps you to just center it. I'm not that particular, but I'm just eyeball, but if you're very meticulous and you like that kind of security, that's a good way to do it. Okay, once you rub it down, go ahead and use a tool, or you can just take a cloth, lay it down, and then rub over that. You want to be careful not to pull up the edges as you go along. There will be little air pockets. It's the nature of vinyl. Just go ahead and rub those down. Use your finger to rub out the bubbles. I'll show you later a mistake I made on the background and how to fix that. You can affix this little sticky piece back to the white background and save it to use for other projects if you want. It's quite sticky and retains that stickiness. So it's good, if nothing else, but to pick up the bits and pieces that you get on your craft space as you go along with this project. Take your time. There's no rush for this piece. You want to be sure you're not pulling off the elements themselves. I have to say this little cold sticker worked pretty well, so I was not unhappy with how well it adhered. Now, press down on your sticker on the clear acetate so that you can make sure it's sticking to that before you begin the next step. This is where most mistakes are going to be made because of the size. Now, you'll see an imprint of the image, and I'm cutting around that imprint so that I use the same amount of space in my next step that I used for the cup itself. This will help you a lot in your planning. I double checked to make sure that it covered everything. Now what you're going to do, I'm pressing the edges so that I get dead center as best as possible. Again, if you've been to my channel, you know I'm a good enough kind of crafter. I'm not stringent. Now I'm looking for the right location for how I would remove some of these existing stickers, how I would keep those from getting affixed. And I just pick the best arrangement that I can, trying to avoid having to cut any of them. You may not be able to avoid that depending on your design and placement, but you'll keep this in mind as you go along. Now I've used a distress crayon that will mark on plastic, and I'm just marking off the ones I do not want to cut in the next step. I will say right now, if you are doing a lot of these for a craft show, you are not going to want to take this much time. And so this video is really for the occasional crafter making some of these cans to help them out. If you find it helpful when you're doing bulk work, then then I'm glad. But just know that this is a little bit more time consuming, but it's more accurate for when you're doing smaller things. Now I'm going to cut around that grouping of stickers that I don't want to attach to my cup. I'm sorry this is a little off stage. I'm getting used to my new filming space, and I'm afraid I'm not quite there. I also have a new camera I'm using, so it's just a little bit of a challenge. So now I'm going to see how this fits and make sure that it's not going to be a problem on my glass. I attempted to glue the top piece so that it would stay steady, but I found that actually for this situation it didn't work at all. I would use real tape if I were doing this again, and just connect that portion together just to make it easier to wrap it around. You're going to see that I have to take off my cover in pieces, and I'm showing you this because people often cut away at this point and don't show you all the silly things that can happen as you're doing this. But this is very sticky paper, and so the inevitable will happen. So I'll walk you through how to fix that, which I hope is really one of the pluses that you get in my videos, is showing you what can go wrong and then how to recover from that without losing your project as much as possible. In fact, you're going to see in a bit that one of my images is wrinkled, as I mentioned earlier, and how to recover from that. You'll have been told not to scrape it off, but if you're using these over-the-counter stickers from Walmart, you most certainly can cut it off without damaging your glassware. So here we go. This stuff is not only sticky, but it has static. So if this seems kind of crazy as you're doing it, you are not mistaken. So here we go. I'm trying to lay it down as carefully as I can with my center object, trying to avoid bubbles, stretching it out as best I can to avoid wrinkles and bubbles and overlaps that will not that will damage actually the final product. So it's a bit of a journey. Just take your time, take a deep breath. If you're feeling frazzled or rushed, I'd say stop for a moment, step back. This is not rocket science, but it is fiddly, and so it can be aggravating. So here you can see, trying to make sure, especially in the upper left, that I'm not having an issue. Now, I was getting quite a big overlap that was going to impact a couple of those stickers, so I decided to cut leeway in so that I could independently pull those down and avoid multiple wrinkles. So now I'm trying to pull it taut and bring it back around. Don't worry about getting fingerprints on the back of this clear acetate. It's not going to show up on your glass because you're not going to leave it. So just pull it as taut as you can. Try to avoid as much wrinkling as you can. If the clear overlaps, because where I cut them apart, they did, don't worry about that. It will pull off cleanly. So don't worry about that at all. Again, go slow, rub it down as you go. Now, I'm going to use this little tool again. If you don't have this tool, don't worry. You can use your hand just fine. You can use a piece of cardstock that you lay and then rub over it. You can use a cloth or a napkin. You know, again, this is not challenging to get this down. You just need to be as thorough as you can, looking at every one of the little images and making sure that they don't have any bubbles or any creases if possible. And again, if they do, you can see the one coming up that is going to have a crease, and we're going to fix that, and it's not hard. had a little space here. So now I'm going to take off the sticker part. And again, there's some overlap on the clear. That's okay. It's going to come off just fine. It may come off in pieces, but it's going to come off just fine. I rub them down as I pull this off, just out of an abundance of caution. I'm going slower than I would to show you this video, but not much slower. It takes me about 15 minutes per glass can, and I don't do this very often. So that's, if that helps you with your timing. And of course, the more you do this, the faster you'll get. But anytime you're using adhesive that is stubborn and not very forgiving, it's going to take more time. But 15 minutes on a gift is really not that long. So I was very pleased with the timing and how much time it took. I'm being extra careful so that I can film this and show you exactly how I'm trying to avoid these little bubbles and bumps. You will find sometimes, no matter how careful you are, that just a tiny little speck, you can see it on that particular one, will peel off. That's how real daisies look. So if that is something that really drives you crazy, this may not be the craft for you, because that's just going to happen. And trying to reattach that minuscule pinpoint would drive me nuts. So I just don't worry about it. If it's horrible or big or ugly, then I'm going to take those off, and I'm going to sacrifice another sticker off of another package to replace it. But that little divot on its own would not have bothered me. In fact, I've actually thought about going back into the images themselves with an X-Acto knife and just taking off some purposely in various places, just so it doesn't look like one was a mistake, that it looks like it was an intentional part of the sticker design. But again, this is not a craft I intend to invest a lot of time in. Now I'm just peeling off all the little clear vinyl so that the little stickers are as they should be. It's very straightforward. Just go slow again. Speed is not your friend. You can see this one. I was thinking, I'll try to just peel it off later, but that isn't going to work. Okay. So now I first started with scissors, and that didn't work, and I was afraid I would cut the glass. So I went and got a little razor device. It's the kind of thing you use all the time to scrape down things like this. And you want to put in a brand new blade, but it made no mark on my glass. It was super, super easy, very easy to get that thing off. Now, I would imagine if you're using ultra strength, I don't think these little cold pressed items are ultra strength, but if you were using ultra strength, this might be a little more challenging to get it off without harming your glass. But I will tell you, if you can get the edge of a blade under it, it's going to be able to be cleaned, and you can get those stickers off your glass without scratching. Again, just using patience, a brand new blade, changing your blade often if you find that there are several pieces that you have to deal with. This one had just a little bubble, and it worked itself right out, so that ended up not being any issue whatsoever. Okay, so now you can see I've got a space there, but we're going to fix that in just a moment. Remember the items that I cut out earlier from the center? They will fit and fill out that area just perfectly. As it turns out, I also had one left over from my earlier can of the same design, and I've got that sitting off to the side. So I could have used it as well, but it was a significantly bigger one, and it was not, so you can see it up in the upper right. It was going to be too big for that space. So I chose one of the ones that was more in line with the overall design. I did clean off the little area with alcohol and wipe it dry before I did this. Super easy. I would not recommend using the distress crayon though, because it rubs color all over. I would use like some other pen or something that doesn't do that, but it was fine. Now I can see that there are other places that the design just had some openings. So I thought I might as well just make it look a little more robust. So I added some more stickers in because I have them. Get it down as close to the lettering as I could. It's now overlapping. Sorry for the reflection. As I did this video, I had my overhead light on, which I usually turn off, and my ceiling fan, so you can see it going in the background. I'm learning. They will get better in time, but it is a learning curve for how to create good videos. But I do hope that you're enjoying these. I hope that this is helpful to you. I hope that recovering from mistakes is something that will give you more confidence to try things that you haven't tried before. This is a fun little craft, and people are just absolutely delighted to get it. You could put a little bit of tissue paper in it so they can see the design. You can put some water additives like little lemonade packets or things of that nature to make it nice. Just the world's your oyster in terms of making this a really fun gift for people. Getting those little bitty extra pieces off. I have found that these stickers stick more as time passes, so you want to get those little flakes off as right away so they don't adhere strongly. So there we go.